First of all, Shauna, let's just reflect on the last fight, your first pro defeat. Just tell me how hard it was to process that.
It was hard and then it wasn't. I thought it'd be worse than what it was. Obviously, I had to take a bit of time away and digest it all. There was a lot of changes that had to be made in camp. Um, so I kind of had to do all them. And it's definitely something I didn't think would happen that early on. Um, I didn't want it to. Preparation wasn't good for that fight at all. I wasn't ready mentally. And yeah, it was my decision. I probably should have said no. I should have said flat no. I knew a few weeks before that it wasn't a good idea taking the fight, and I still did. And I'm sure there's a lot of fighters that have been in the same predicament. They get offered a carrot and they have to take it. If they don't take it, then could end up slapping them in the face. And I literally got that. But I've learned from it. The amount of growth in myself and in my boxing since the defeat has been unbelievable. So I know people say it, and it's probably a bit cliche to say it, but it probably was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. Because all the changes I actually had to make, I've made them, and it's definitely made me a better person and a better fighter. I've now found a coach that I believe works extremely well for what I need. Don't get me wrong, it's not easy, but nothing about this game is easy. The best thing I did, I think, out of all of it, I took the shot. I took it on the chin like a champ, I believe. But I got up and I went on to fight another day. I didn't dwell on it. I didn't cry about it. Didn't blame anybody. Just got straight back to the gym and went looking for another one. And that was it.
You mentioned that you noticed really a few weeks before the fight that you probably shouldn't have gone in the ring. Mentally wasn't in the right place. Do you want me asking, what was the place you was in and why did you go for the fight? Was it just a fighter mentality?
Yeah, so I was obviously on a really good roll. I fought like every 7 weeks since September. And on my fifth fight after beating the girl in Australia, going over to her back garden, she was 6-0 and she was ranked, I think she was number four in the WBA or something. And I didn't have any rank in any of the governing bodies. After that fight, I ended up with like three. I was top 10 in three, which is unbelievable. So I was kind of like, yeah, I was on a roll and I just kind of wanted the roll to keep going. But the preparation in the 7 weeks, it just wasn't really good preparation for a WBC and eliminator, just put it that way. I ain't going to into too much detail, but no one, even like the Canelos of the world and the Katie Taylors of the world, would have took the fight with the preparation that I had. So me personally, I should have taken my career by the horns and said, no, this isn't right. I need to just take a step back. But then you're turning down an offer. It was with Matchroom. It was a big gamble, big risk. We were on a big platform against a girl that was 9-0. She was a previous world champion. So I was in the mix, and no offense, on my day, I'm good enough to beat that girl, and I know I am. 100%. I know I am. And that was me at six, and that was me on my sixth fight. So it was a gamble I took. It didn't pay off, but I'm okay. I can live to fight another day. Um, I took it on the chin, and all I want to do now is just get back in the ring and right the wrong that I did and show the world exactly why I'm Shauna Browne, Carrigain Queen, the fighter. I believe I'm absolutely made for this game, and that one loss doesn't define me in the slightest. It was a good shot in 30 to 45 seconds. You'd say something if I got battered for 10 rounds. I didn't. And I know in my hand of hearts, if that referee didn't call it so soon, which I believe I recovered really well after the shot, it wouldn't have went that way for the rest of the fight, because I can tell you one thing, that shot woke me up. Really did. And I would have went out and I would have gave it my all. And I believe I would have come out on top because I am a fighter that just doesn't stop and I can bring absolutely everything to the table. Just unfortunately, it was a bad night at the office and the referee had to make the decision to call it, and I had to respect his wishes, and that's just the way it went.
Do you feel this defeat and the fashion of the defeat? You mentioned it's not a 10 round battering, it was, an early shot, caught you a good shot, that was that sort of thing. Do you feel that makes you a better fighter?
Being able to take it the way I did, yes, because I've seen a lot of people get defeated, and the way they've handled themselves, the way they've presented themselves, the way they've approached the defeat has been absolutely terrible. So I stuck to the way I am inside the ring and outside the ring with the loss. I took it on the chin. No matter what life throws at me, it's one thing I heard, and it's so true. What I've dealt with in my life is so much more difficult what I'm dealing with in boxing. So it's just another night at the office. I just wipe away the tears that I had, and I wouldn't mind. I didn't even have tears that night. It wasn't until a few days later. But I just get on with it. It's just another thing. And it's a really good thing to add to the story. My life has been one big story from the day I was born, lads, and the amount of stuff that have had to come through, the amount of adversity outside of the ring. This is nothing compared to what I've been through. So I know I'm going to be fine. And it does condition you and it does make you a better fighter. And it really makes me believe I'm made for this game because of the way I handled that defeat.
You mentioned earlier you feel you are better than Elif on the night or on your best night. Is a rematch something that is now something that you want at some point in your career?
100%. I don't think there's any fighter you'd speak to and they'd tell you that they don't want to right the wrong. Of course they do. But my goal now is to just get back in the ring, get an 8 rounder. I'm praying to be out by July, August. That's the way we're looking. And get the ball rolling to be out at least 3 times before Christmas. Fight for some sort of title before Christmas, whether it's European, WBA, international, whatever it is, because I believe I'm good enough to do it. And then look at next year, see what next year brings. But yeah, I would 100% want that rematch. And I think everybody would as well, because the whole world was so shocked the way that fight went. They fully believed that was going to be different. I believe if I turned up on the night the way I know I can be, the way I know I can fight, and Shauna's ready mentally, physically, emotionally, everything's aligned, it would have been a way better fight than what it was on the night. So I think we need to give the people what they definitely want to see, and that's a rematch against myself and Elif.
Definitely. You mentioned you made a few changes to camp and things like that after this fight. Talk to me about the rebuild. How's that rebuild been coming on?
Yeah, it's been coming on good. So obviously, I came straight back to the UK and I just went training. Went training straight away. I left Rod, but we left amicably. It's kind of a decision I was timing it well before the fight, to be honest with you. Um, we just kind of went our separate ways. That's all. There was no reason for me to excel in my career. I had to change, and that's just what happens with fighters. But the change I've made now, the new coach that I'm with, just put it this way, it's different. It's very different, very, very hard. But I'm seeing the differences already, and I'm only with him. This is only going into my fourth week. We've a lot of work to do, a lot of work to do. But like, I'm here for it. I'm really excited to show the fighter that I know I can become with the implementation that Aaron is putting in me. It's going to be so different, like so different. But yeah, really, really good, I believe.
I want to just take you back to Australia, your last victory, obviously, probably a different fighter to what you are now. What was that experience like, going in against an undefeated fighter, a massive stage to perform on, and obviously Australia as well?
So if I'm being honest, I don't really think about too much about them being undefeated or their records. And I didn't even know she was WBA number 4 before I got in the ring. I had no clue, none whatsoever. Um, the travel to Australia, don't get me wrong, it was mental. We didn't really, I think we only arrived like 3 or 4 days before I actually got in the ring to fight. The period between was very, very short, but I adapted well. Um, it was unbelievable. The Gold Coast was one of the best experiences of my life. It's such an amazing place, and working with Tasman were absolutely brilliant. The fight was great against Taylor Jensen as well. I was like a bull in a china shop through everything but the kitchen sink, but I knew I had to, unfortunately. Because if I didn't get the knockdown in the seventh round, I wouldn't have got the decision, as everybody's seen. I think you would have been lucky to give her 1 or 2 rounds out of the 10. And I knocked her down the seventh. I still only won the split decision. So that was very like it took my breath away. I'm not gonna lie, 'cause I went into her back garden after putting on the display. Like I literally left everything in the ring, and I got defeated. I would have been absolute. I think that would have actually would have. But yeah, it was a great experience. Yeah, it was good.
Do you feel with that, with mentioning the scorecards, obviously you was away from home in Australia, did that make you change your approach to future fights at all in terms of taking the fight out of judges' hands?
Not really, to be honest, because the amount of people that have went away and have lost in a way, in yeah, in my situation where they're on the B side, they're in the back garden, they've lost, they haven't got the decision. And I went over against a person to take her in her back garden, and I defied all the odds. I got the decision. So, no, I just go out, I'll take whatever is there, obviously more educated now, and make sure that we're fully prepared and we're ready. And I believe I have the team that's going to make sure that happens, that make sure that fully happens, that I never end up in a position that I ended up in March. So no, to be honest, I don't really. I go in and I put in the work, and I don't leave it to the judges. I make sure that it's so convincing that they have to give it to me. That's just what I'll do.
Absolutely. And whilst I've got you on, I can't not speak to you about Katie Taylor's upcoming fight, Amanda Serrano. We know you shared the ring with Katie Taylor. The trilogy fight's finally on again. The first two have been unbelievable fights for the sport of boxing, not just women's boxing. Just talk to me a little bit about Katie.
Yeah, so she's incredible. I could actually sit here all day and talk about that woman. She's been my idol since I came boxing, started boxing when I was about 14. I traveled all over Ireland watching every single fight she was in all over Ireland since I was a kid. So turning over and actually becoming her sparring partner. So I'm mad into, like, right now, goals, manifestation, visualization, and it does work. And one of my goals I wrote down when I turned over back in like 2023, um, was to become a sparring partner to Katie Taylor. And I did. And I get to go over, I'm going over again now. I think the last week or 2 weeks with her before she goes and fights Amanda again. So I'm super excited to go do that again, because it'll be good to see where she's at. And I'll obviously know then, after being in the ring with her, the way it's going to go. Because I sparred her a fair bit for the last one. I think I went over 3 times in the last camp that she had. And by me, she's going to be here. And then by the last spar that I did the week before she flew to Texas, I was like, I can guarantee you she'll beat her more convincingly. And I was right. You know, when you're in against the other person, you know the way it's going to run. But yeah, I'm excited to see where Katie's at. I've seen she's done a bit of training with her dad as well. So I'm intrigued to see how that's going to work. Her dad knows her really well, but so does Ross. So I think the dynamic with the three of them may be really, really good. So I think we'll have a treat again.
Absolutely. And just the last question, in terms of Katie, what's the biggest piece of advice she's given you that's stuck with you?
Um, the biggest thing that she said, just stay me. So before my fight in the Tree Arena, obviously it was my first big arena show. And obviously I was quite close with Katie. I can reach out to her. The advice she gave me is just stay true to me, and my boxing, I'll shine through it, because she can see how much I love it, how much work that I put in. And yeah, just that's the biggest thing, is just stay true to me, and then everything else will work out.
Fantastic. Well, Sean, I hope we'll see you back in the ring very soon as well. Enjoy your trip over and sharing the ring again with Katie, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
No worries at all.